While everyone in the tennis world is enthralled to the hard courts of the California Open, the shockwaves are being felt thousands of miles away in the Czech Republic. For the rest of the 2026 season, the existing circumstances could drastically change the WTA Tour order. A 20-year-old Filipino superstar broke a formula in a sport today. Alexandra, the left-handed sensation for years, Eala has been knocking on the door of the elite, but instead of just entering, she has kicked it down. The seasoned Czech and her entire nation were in full disbelief after Eala's performance against World No. 13 and the recently crowned Doha champion Karolina Muchova, which was so clinically accurate and emotionally resilient. There was more to it than a match. It was a match between two very different tennis philosophies. The WTA's chess player, Karolina Muchova, was on one side. She is one of the most visually stunning and difficult players to play against because of her variety, slicing, and net play. Muchova entered this match with a great deal of momentum. She just regained her spot in the top 15 globally after winning her first ever WTA 1000 title in Doha, making her the established star. A player who almost defeated Ego's 5-8 in a Grand Slam final, and a woman who many considered the dark horse favorite for the upcoming Sunshine Double. Beside him stood Alexandra Eala. Even though Eala is only 20 years old and already a national icon in the Philippines, she demonstrated tonight that she is a formidable opponent. Eala was a risky floater heading into the California Open with a career-high rating of 31. However, few predicted that she would use such force to destroy a player of Muchova's caliber. The Eala effect is more than just a social media craze these days. This tactical reality is now something that the top players in the world must contend with. The significance of this result cannot be overstated. For the Czech Republic, a nation that takes pride in producing elite tennis players, losing to a rising Southeast Asian prodigy is a wake-up call. This is a historic time for the Philippines. This is the first time that one of their own has faced and triumphed over a top-tier Grand Slam challenger. As we prepare to analyze the details of how this happened, we need to look at the how and the why. How did Eala neutralize Muchova's legendary variety? What went wrong for Muchova when she needed her serve, which was usually her most potent weapon? And what impact will this have on the draw in the future? This is an in-depth examination of a match that will be remembered as Alexandra Eala's formal stage debut. We are looking at the data, the methodology, the psychological strategies, and the fallout from an outcome that truly caught everyone off guard. Alexandra Eala is playing the 13th ranked player in the world, Karolina Muchova, at the California Open. A competition that changed everything. To understand why this result is so important, we need to look at the routes these two women took before coming to California. It's Karolina Muchova first. Up till now, 2026 has been Muchova's year. After years of battling wrist problems and stomach strains that threatened to end a promising career, Karolina eventually found her fitness again. She won a masterclass in Doha a few weeks ago. In addition to winning, she outthought and outfought the best in the field. Her rating had returned to number 13, and there was talk in the locker room that she was playing at a top 5 level. Muchova's approach to the game is becoming increasingly rare. She is more than just a party animal. She utilizes the entire court. She charges and chips, and her drop shots are thought to be the best in the world. When Muchova is playing, her opponents feel as though they are facing a ghost. She never gives them the same ball twice. Thus, they can't get into a rhythm. Point one more is Alexandra Eala. If Muchova is the chess player, Eala is the relentless strategist. Training at the Rafael Nadal Academy, Eala has inherited the Spanish tenacity that makes her so unique. However, she also integrates it into a unique, modern, aggressive baseline style. In 2026, she has steadily increased. When she stunned Jasmine Pini and shoved Coco Gauff in Dubai, we saw her moments of brilliance. In Manila and Melbourne, we saw the Eala army of supporters cram stadiums. But there was always a question. Can she overcome a crafty veteran? Can she handle a player who won't simply give her pace to reroute? From the first game of the competition, the answer was unmistakably yes. Eala's left-handedness was the last equalizer. For Muchova's slice, which usually stays low and bites away from right-handers, Eala was in the ideal position. Every time Muchova tried to slow the pace with a backhand slice, Eala was there, stepping inside the baseline and tearing that cross-court forehand with incredible RPMs. It was a tactical nightmare for Muchova. She couldn't get Eala off the court because the odds were stacked against her. In the first set, Eala played what many spectators are calling perfect tennis. She broke Muchova in the third game as retribution for a series of second serves that lacked their usual kick. Muchova seemed agitated. Her eyes showed it. The awareness that her usual tactics weren't working. Eala made accurate passing shots when she tried to go to the net. In the first set, 4-2, the entire match was summed up in a single point. Muchova had an amazing drop shot. Eala hurried to the area, sent the ball over Muchova's head, and finished the point with a swinging volley. There was a moment of silence before the audience burst into cheers. At that point, the Czech camp realized they were going to have a difficult day. However, Muchova is a champion for a reason. In the second set, she began to find her range. She increased the height of her shots and started using her serve to more effectively target Eala's backhand in an attempt to drive the Filipino back. We saw Muchova overcome a breakdown, showcasing the well-known resilience that enabled her to advance to the French Open final. The momentum was shifting. The shock that the Czech media is reporting is mostly the result of this period. Muchova's racket was used for the match. She was ahead 54 in the second set when she served to tie the match. The psychological profile of Alexandra Eala now takes front stage. Most 20-year-olds would have crumbled under that pressure, especially when up against a player with Muchova's level of expertise. Instead, Eala turned into a barrier. She had no intention of missing it. She forced Muchova to play one more ball, then another, and still another. Muchova's style of play began to regress to unintentional errors. The physical toll of her Doha runs seemed to finally catch up with her. Her first serve rate dropped to less than 50% over that crucial 10-minute period because she wasn't moving as fluidly. Eala accelerated after breaking back and holding for 65. The last game served as a small depiction of Eala's skills. She hit 3 straight winners, an off-the-return, a down-the-line backhand, and a cross-court forehand that left Muchova stranded at the baseline. As the final ball flew far from Muchova's racket, nobody in Olomouc or Prague wanted to read the scoreboard narrative. In straight sets, the underdog prevails. This has far-reaching consequences. Karolina Muchova is devastated. She was expected to make significant progress in order to get a seed in the top 8 for the upcoming Grand Slams. This setback might keep her on the periphery of the elite seeds, which would make her path considerably more challenging. The Czech media is already speculating as to whether Eala has recently figured out how to beat Karolina or whether the weariness from the Middle East swing was too much. This serves as a warning to the WTA as a whole. Alexandra Eala claims that in addition to the players she is predicted to defeat, she has shown that she is capable of defeating the giants. Her ranking will surely rise once more, most likely putting her in the top 25, a remarkable feat for a Filipino player. However, what transcends the numbers is the statement of will. She played with a maturity and tactical discipline usually found in late 20s veterans. We must also discuss the atmosphere. The California Open is renowned for its rowdy spectators, and the Eala army was out in full force. It seemed really shocking when the Filipino diaspora in California revealed Eala's home court advantage. Muchova. For every point Eala scored, there was a roar that was reminiscent of the atmosphere at the Davis Cup or Billie Jean King Cup. It is an energy-based weapon. It clearly exhausts her opponents and gives Eala a boost. As we proceed with the draw, Eala is no longer the fearsome underdog. She is a marked woman. Every coach in the top 20 is now watching the video of this game. They are looking at how she handled Muchova's variety. How she kept her cool when the veteran started her comeback after opening the court with her lefty serve. The entire 2026 season will see a change in leadership after this game. The gap between the big three of Sabalenka, Gauff, and rising stars like Eala is narrowing. Eala's victory over Muchova shows that the next generation is always ready to become the current generation, even if they still make headlines. Today, the rest of the world ought to be extremely vigilant. As we get to the end of this in-depth examination of one of the most remarkable outcomes of the California Open, the Czech Republic may be in disbelief, but the conversation is only beginning. Karolina and Alexandra Eala. There was more to Muchova's match today than just tennis. It was a cultural and athletic sensation. It was the moment when a young woman from Quezon City traveled halfway around the world to chase a goal in Mallorca, and her tenacity paid off on a global scale. The Czech Republic will suffer greatly as a result of this game. Karolina Muchova's remarkable Doha title and her professional achievements are unaffected by a single loss. She continues to be among the most talented athletes of her era. On the other hand, this defeat serves as a sobering reminder of how close the margins are in the top divisions of professional tennis. There are no easy rounds in the game right now. If your intensity drops by even 5%, there is a young player like Eala who is enthusiastic, talented, and tactically sound. Muchova will undoubtedly bounce back. She has the class and the personality to pull it off. But today, she was simply outclassed by a more robust plan and a more resilient spirit. The celebrations in the Philippines are likely to last for several weeks. Alexandra Eala, a tennis player, has developed into something more. She is an example of what is possible when talent, excellent training, and unyielding willpower are brought together. She has been carrying the burden of a whole nation ever since she won junior Grand Slams as a young child.